Do you know the why behind what you're doing as a leader? And I don't mean your organisational why, but your personal why, your purpose. In today's episode of the Leaders with Impact podcast, I'm exploring the importance of having clarity in your purpose, how that helps organisational performance, and what you can do to make sure yours has maximum impact. I'm Lee Griffith, a communications strategist, executive coach, and all-round champion of leaders who shun the old school stereotypes. I'm here to help you get clear on your strategy, implement some self-leadership, and connect with those you serve through your communications so that you can deliver improved organisational performance, engagement, and reputation. If you're enjoying the podcast, please leave a review over on Apple Podcasts so even more leaders have the chance to make a greater impact in the workplace. So often what I notice when I talk to people, they'll tell you their job title, they'll explain what's in their portfolio or what functions they're accountable for, and they'll go into the details of the practical delivery side of things. But rarely do they explain why. Now, our comfort can be found in describing the hows and the whats of our work, but connection comes through the whys. And so I want to spend some time today exploring why having clarity in your purpose is an important first step if you're trying to make a greater impact as a leader. As it's in this that we start to find the golden thread that goes through everything you do as a leader. It becomes the North Star to guide your decisions and actions. It underpins your narrative, and it just makes everything a whole load easier. Now, in episode 6, I talked about why you need your own personal leadership strategy and the benefits that brings to you and your organisation. So I'm not going to rehash that episode here. I will put a link to it in the show notes and you can go back and have a listen. In this episode, I am going to hone in on one element that I discussed in episode 6, which is the purpose piece, because for me, that's the starting point of everything you do as a leader. And I want to start by answering the question of why does this matter? And why does this matter to the organisation that you work for? Is this just some personal pet project, or does it have organisational benefit? And to answer that question is absolutely yes. So research shows that employees working for a leader who they feel has clarity in their purpose is 70% more satisfied, 70, and 56% more engaged with their work. Now, if we roll that forward, more satisfied and engaged staff we know means better performance, greater productivity, greater delivery, higher morale. That leads to better customer satisfaction, improved reputation with stakeholders. The ripple effects go far. So we're starting from a common point of understanding. When I'm talking about defining your purpose, I mean getting to the heart of what is the unique perspective or approach that you're bringing to your role. So if you were to leave tomorrow, I was going to use that if you get hit by the bus, but that just felt a little bit morbid. But now I've said it. So if you get hit by a bus tomorrow and you're not at work, what's the gap that others are going to notice isn't being filled by you not being there? So your purpose is the thing that's so innate to you. It's something that you've probably struggled to articulate before now. But when you do, it will feel like one of those cryptic puzzles where suddenly everything just slips into place and it unlocks the secret inside. And you get your purpose, it's going to help you with your decision making. It's going to guide you into the next role you undertake and the one after that. Because really, your purpose is unique to you as a person. It's not just about your organisation. It's not unique to the role you do in that organisation. It's something that you, a bit like your national insurance number, you take with you for life. And as your purpose is unique to you, so is the way in which you're going to want to express it. So I don't know about you, but I'm completely over these inauthentic one-liners full of corporate BS that could belong to anybody. And we're seeing it more and more with organisational vision and mission statements. When they're trying to articulate their purpose, it could be any organisation. And you kind of go, well, so what? And so what I'm saying is we're not looking for a word perfect statement of intent, But instead, I want you to start thinking of your purpose almost as like a proclamation of what people are going to get from you and what you're going to give and get from yourself. Now, I've had many conversations over the years about how do you start to tap into your purpose, and do we even all need to have a clear purpose? Now, to answer that second part first, yes, we do. It might not be groundbreaking, and that's okay. It's just got to mean something to us individually. We need to know why it's our purpose and why it's unique to us, rather than something that any leader on the exec corridor would say. But tapping into your purpose is a bit trickier. It's like, I always think of it like finding your perfect pair of jeans. You're going to have to try on different styles, different sizes, understand how and when you're going to be wearing them. Does it fit with your lifestyle? You might have to ask the opinions of a few trusted people about how they look. You might even start wearing them with the label for a little while before you decide whether you're going to keep them and if the fit's right. So it can take a long time to land on your purpose. I know, certainly from my point of view, I didn't really start to land on my purpose until the end of my corporate career. And I started to understand about who I was and how I wanted to be showing up. And it's something that I've continued to play with and explore as I've set up and developed my own business. I know the essence of my purpose is to challenge and change the way people lead through communications. And that has become my guiding star in the work I do through my business, through the podcasts that I do and the collaborations that I do, and just generally what I engage with online and the discussions that I have. And finding your purpose starts with your stories. So those moments that have impacted you in your life and your career. For me, when I was finding my purpose, it was certainly my experiences of working in toxic environments, working with outdated leaders who just fell into the stereotypes of what they thought leaders needed to behave like. And I went down that trap with them at times and felt really misaligned and torn by some of the decisions that I was having to make. Over time, I started to learn what brought me joy and what lit me up inside and what gave me that fire in my belly that was so important to the work that I did. And that's why, I'm really clear that my purpose is to challenge and change things, because I still see some of those difficult behaviours being played out in the most senior levels of leadership. So if you're looking at trying to identify where your purpose is, what it is, how you find it, start with your stories. Those, as I say, those moments that have impacted you. So things that might have happened when you were growing up, when you felt the most content or connected. It might be the challenges that you've had to deal with in the past or experiences that have really tested you. Look at the things that interest you or the activities that really light you up, the stuff that you're passionate about. And it can help by asking others about their stories of you. When you've been at your most unique self, what have they noticed? And it's a combination of these stories, the things that light you up, that feel really positive, the things that challenge you and light that fire for you, that start to help you to hone into the thing that's driving you at your core. So take these stories, write them down, what you thought, how you felt, evoke all your senses and make note of the words that came to mind as you start to think back over those experiences. And if it's other people's stories that you're listening to, write down words and statements that resonate with you as they're talking. And what you'll start to see are themes and patterns. That might be specific words or feelings that are evoked by the words that stand out as meaningful to you. Capture everything in whatever way helps you to process your thinking. It doesn't need to be, as I say, a perfectly formed sentence. It might be an image. I've seen some people do it as an equation because their brain works in that way. What you're going to have at the end are perhaps a handful of words from which you can start pulling together your own purpose statement. And there is no formula of what that looks like, how long that should be. You know, you don't want to be like every other person. So I'm not going to say, you know, complete this sentence or anything like that. You come up with what feels comfortable for you. And remember, it's a work in progress. So like a strategy, it's not something that you're going to write to file away and then forget. It's something that you'll revisit and might tweak and change over time as you begin to learn more about yourself and the person and the leader that you're becoming. And knowing and leading from your purpose will help you to grow as a leader, because it's going to provide a direction and encouragement to do the hard things that you might have shied away from before. It's going to show the real you to you and to others. So we often talk about authentic leadership, and I don't really like that word anymore, because that often can be focused on the style rather than the substance. And your purpose allows others to understand what makes you tick, whilst you can adapt your style to make the things happen that align with your purpose. Knowing and leading from your purpose is going to help you to be more grounded as a leader. So let's be honest, the circumstances and context in which you operate are always going to change. And when we don't lead in a way that's connected to purpose, we can let those situations run away with us. And as I was alluded to earlier, I have been in situations in my career where I felt really uncomfortable with decisions I was making or behaviours I was displaying. And it's because I was going along with the flow and copying what other people's and other leaders were doing, rather than really tapping into who I was and how I wanted to show up. So our purpose provides that foundation for the way that we operate. It helps us not compete with others and see that we've got to behave in a way that other people behave, because we begin to understand that unique role we play, whether that's at work or whether it's home or it's socially. As I say, this is an all-encompassing thing about how you're showing up. And knowing and leading from your purpose is going to change the way that you communicate and connect with others, because they're going to see the cause that you're pushing for rather than the task. And they're going to believe in you more as the leader that's going to make change happen. So if you've not really spent any time considering your personal strategy before, if you've struggled to answer the question when someone asks you why you do what you do, if you're finding it hard to articulate the change you're trying to make in your team or organisation, maybe you think you've got clarity but you're failing to take other people with you, then I'd advise you to start working through what your purpose is. It's going to help you with your personal leadership strategy. It's going to define your leadership brand. It's going to help you understand what you need from a self-leadership point of view. It's going to help give you a voice to what you're striving to achieve. Again, think of those ripple effects. And if you're responsible in any way for identifying or developing leaders, help them to make a better impact by sharing why leading with purpose makes a difference. Support them to explore and clarify for themselves what they're all about. I find in a lot of the coaching work I'm doing at the moment, actually particularly at the moment when the organisational challenges have only increased post-pandemic, bringing our conversations back to purpose have provided those aha moments that unblock the sticky point. I know I'm mixing my metaphors up there, but, go with me. And it throws up different thinking that feels right for that individual. So whether it's someone worrying about how they're going to take challenging board members with them through a change program, or someone becoming more ruthless with their day-to-day self-management so they've got the time and space to work on the things that only they can do instead of working in the weeds and disempowering others. Bringing it back to purpose provides a new lens in which you can start to make the impact you want to as a leader. Now, if you want breakthroughs like this, my coaching packages provide that safe space to explore and test different ways in which you want to show up as a leader. And if you want to get clarity on your purpose and strategy, a VIP intensive day could be the answer. Visit my website, Sunday Skies, for further information, or drop me an email, lwi@sundayskies.com. Until next time. If you enjoyed the episode, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and let me know what you thought on LinkedIn. You can find me at Lee Griffith. I'll be back with the next episode in 2 weeks' time. So in the meantime, sign up to my newsletter at sundayskies.com for monthly insights on how else you can lead with impact. Until next time.